We're now coming into Albania. Not in my top 100 countries in the world. I don't think it's even my top 100 in Europe. But this is us coming into Albania now and find out what it's about. I mean, presumably Albanians eat food as well, so.
You make it sound like we're going to some kind of primitive society, love.
Game of Thrones. Albania is coming.
Boomerang is coming.
Well, we're about to arrive in Albania, so we've got our Albanian flag and our Q flag, which means that we have to go through customs because we're entering a country outside of the EU. So in Albania, the best way to enter the country is to get an agent, which we've done. Surrender Summer Tours is our agency, and apparently they're incredibly helpful, and this is meant to be quite an easy process, which is very good news.
Sarandi Port Authority, this is SP Boomerang, do you copy?
Daily Boomerang, agent calling.
Yes, good morning. We are about 0.8 of a mile out. Will you send an agent out to see us? Over.
Captain, so we'll keep in touch when you get closer to the port. I will be there in about 10 minutes and we'll call you on channel 10.
Copy that, channel 10. So we are now standing by on channel 10. Boomerang out.
We had to come to Albania because we had to take the boat out of the EU. But now that we're here in Sarande, I can absolutely see why people would come here by choice. It's essentially a holiday destination for Albanians. We've also seen Italians here. And why not? You're quite spoilt for choice in this huge bay. All the swimming beaches are full of families. You've got loads of beach bars, fantastic restaurants all along the shoreline, and really cheap. It's a fantastic spot, a bit touristic, but I don't mind that. There's a really nice energy and family vibe here. The thing that struck me most about Sarande was the amazing mix of culture. That bay had it all going on, and apparently in perfect harmony as well.
Seems to be singing along to the tunes. Interesting concept on the call to prayer. A little bit of rap into call to prayer. He's got it.
And then the next morning, the Christians got in on the act.
So we've got lots of church bells this morning. We do hope that the DJ, who was playing until, midnight, a little bit after midnight, is right next door to that church.
A little bit bleary-eyed this morning. The competition between the call to prayer and the DJ, it looked as if the DJ won. So we're now setting off, leaving Sarande, going up. It's only a 3-hour passage this morning, just to go up to see Ali Pasha's castle. The despot, he wasn't even a benevolent despot, this was just a bad despot. So we'll go up there and anchor there for the night. But Sarande's been great, people have been lovely.
Ali Pasha was just one of Albania's, let's say, infamous leaders. The other one was Hoxha. Now this guy has left his legacy all the way up Albania's 125-mile long coastline.
Yes, so to put some statistics in it, 174,000 pillboxes, which is 6 per every square kilometre of Albania. Now, you got to remember that this guy was in bed with the Russians. Then when he fell out with the Russians, he got into bed with the Chinese. So you don't really want to fall out with either of them.
No, and as a result of his paranoia, the coastline is rather uninviting. So that's one reason, not only because of all the pillboxes, but also there are so few places of refuge for a sailor. I think there's 6 along that entire stretch. And most of them are either commercial ports or military bases.
They're neither glamorous or particularly welcoming.
Or certain.
Well, we're 3 nautical miles away from Porto Palermo, where we're hoping to anchor for the night. The trouble with this place is that, according to the sailing community, it's susceptible to katabatic winds, which can gust up to 30 knots at sundown. Not ideal. Also, it's unclear whether or not we're actually allowed to anchor here. There is a military base at the northern end of it, and some yachties are being told to move on, which is not ideal because our next place of refuge is a good 7 hours north of here. So fingers crossed we'll be okay, because apparently it's quite beautiful and it has been recommended to us. We'll see.
So we arrived at Porto Palermo, dropped anchor, had a quick look around. Hopefully no one was looking at us or watching, because this is a military base with a gunboat right outside of a hidden submarine base. Okay, we could have a bit of a situation here. We've just seen the gunboat. It's across beside the submarine base. 3 guys getting on it, so we don't know whether they're going to come towards us and let us stay or not. So just monitoring it.
The wind had really picked up too, so we weren't that keen to leave. But at one point it looked like we might have to, didn't it, those guys?
Oh yeah, gosh. 2 guys swam out to the boat on the first day that we were there.
What's going on, Dad?
Nothing that makes me happy. We thought they were just kind of tourists. As it turns out, they were the military. And while we were swimming around, they were asking us all kinds of searching questions about number of people on board. We asked if we could stay. They said they'd have to go back and talk to their commandant, which sounded fairly intimidating. How do you look innocent?
Obviously not this. Sitting
Pretend
here.
to look innocent.
Okay, I'm going to go back and start cooking again.
No, gosh, no.
How to look innocent? I think you ended up downstairs cooking because I ended up having to deal with those soldiers who, as it turned out, were just really fascinated by the Australian flag and wanted to know if I knew their cousins in Bendigo. I wouldn't have been surprised though. Bendigo's 6 degrees of separation.
Well, as it turned out, we were allowed to stay. So, quite early in the morning, we've got quite a long passage now. And let's just chomp through the miles, shall we? Leg 3 was going to take us from Puerto Palermo to Vlorë, which is a good 7-hour sail, about 40 odd miles. Yep, that floor's clean.
We decided to anchor off another military base. This one was on the island of Suzanne, which is just off Vlorë. Damn it, there's no one else anchored. Pioneers, love, pioneers. So I called ahead on the VHF to the port authorities and just asked permission, and they said, sure, you can anchor just so long as you're 1 cable offshore.
What's a cable?
No idea.
How far is a cable? I was guessing that I was hoping that a cable was about, 100 metres.
Yeah, well, it was pretty much guesswork, which is what led to a marital dispute because I wasn't going to push our luck, unlike somebody. We're a bit close, 589 metres left. Just saying. I've got his permission to be here, and then you're going to go and screw it up because we're too close.
Alright, well, let's let out about 6 miles of chain then. Is that a gunboat now?
No.
See that rusty...
Yeah, no, that's a truck.
It's a truck. Is that a fishing boat there?
No, that looks like a gunboat.
That's what I said.
No, honey, well, I was looking at the other. That's only just come into my view. It looked like a truck from the outside. So no, that's a gunboat.
Look at the binoculars and the better eyesight, and I still saw it.
Oh, it looked like a truck from the other angle.
A gunboat that looks like a truck.
It looks.
Yeah, easy mistake to make there now.
Nice beach. Should I do the yardage as well?
No.
You're going to cheat.
I just want you to go with this because
All right.
that far out.
All right. You can deal with the authorities.
Just say sorry. Sorry, we didn't realise it was almost half a mile. We're at 21 meters. Let's just see how it settles the next 5 minutes or so. Still in 18 meters of water here.
It's a lot of change had to put down for both of us because it'll be too late if we drop.
Okay, all right, well, let's go to Oricum then. Okay, let's go to Oricum then.
It was too windy, too deep, and just too risky.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
our only other option was to sail another.
Well, it was only another hour and a half, but what we were doing was going in the opposite direction, which meant it was the next day was going to be an even longer passage, which was already going to be 10, 11 hours.
But Oricum has a marina. It's the only place in Albania that has a marina. Unfortunately, the entrance is super tight. I reckon a canoe would get lucky to be lucky to get through there.
Yeah, we know a couple of people who have been in there, and it's threading a needle.
So we just dropped anchor again. Again, this was pretty risky, I'd say, because this is uncharted territory. The maps don't tell you much about what's on the seabed. So who knows what the hell we're dropping our anchor on?
Couple of fishing pots. There were so many fishing pots there, and thank goodness we managed to get in there in daytime, because
Absolutely,
at night we would have been collecting this
Yep.
stuff like a combine harvester.
Yes.
It's really quiet. The only thing I'm worried about is we're the only people here within about a 14 square mile radius, and starting to think, might have a visit from the feds.
Darling, we could be pioneers here. Maybe that's what's going on. We're pioneering uncharted territory.
Idiots at sea. You did what? Oh my God! You got out of jail free there.
Just leaving our anchorage at Oricum. Good morning.
I'm looking sparkling this morning. Some wine was taken yesterday. So we set off the next morning, really early, about 5:30, just as sun was coming up, from Oricum to Durrës, which was going to be a good 60 miles.
Yeah, another 10 hours or so, yeah?
Yeah, another 10 hours, and really a featureless coastline.
Yeah. Well, I was kept pretty entertained by killing all those damn mosquitoes that we collected in Oricum. Holy hell.
It was like being in Loch Lomond in June with the midges. Jesus, no.
Starting to win the war.
A little bit bloodthirsty.
We put the sails up, hoping for a little bit of help at least.
Is that taking out?
Yeah, that's good enough. Yeah, that's great. That's tight, really tight, that's good.
Well, it didn't last for long because there was no wind.
There is absolutely nothing out here as we continue our little journey up the Albanian coast. As you can see, it's a flat calm. We do have the sail up. Just in hope that we might get a few gusts to push us along, but nothing. Amazing that it has, the landscape in Albania has turned from being really dramatic and quite high mountains to that just kind of like marshland. Nothing out there at all. More worryingly, nowhere to anchor if we get into strife.
So for 3 days we did not see another boat, which is quite quite intimidating, because you're in Europe, and for all the time that we've been in Europe, you can't go 10 minutes without seeing something on the horizon. But here, 3 days of nothing.
Nada.
What were we doing?
We arrived at Durrës at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and Durrës is essentially a commercial port. We didn't really want to stay in the port, so we decided to anchor off and then travel in by dinghy to go and meet up with our agent, who was going to do all that paperwork we needed to do, so that we could exit Albania and be ready to get into Montenegro the next day.
Basically, a commercial fishing, commercial port. We're anchored outside because inside just looks miserable. So we're anchored outside and digging in to do all the paperwork to check out.
So essentially what our agent organised for us was that if we left before 7 a.m, we weren't going to have to go back ashore on the dinghy, which was amazing. It just meant a very early start, which we were going to do anyway because it was a pretty long trip to Montenegro the next day.
50 miles we've got today up to Montenegro, and quite a tricky passage out of here. We've got to follow some very specific guidelines to get out, but as you can see, the glamour of sailing is in the background here.
All we had to do was ring up on the VHF to confirm that we were leaving at 7 a.m.
Are you coming from Kosovo?
Not as easy as it sounds though.
No, well, there's the language issues as well. Australian and English.
That's rude. We are two-person. Over?
No idea what the guy was saying.
I was just making up as I went along. Which I always do, Dale.
Plus échange.
What does that mean?
Well, I won't go through the full expression, but it means same old, same old.
Oh, and there's the sun coming up. How well timed.
The route out of Dodge, i.e. Durez, wasn't straightforward either. So note to sailors, keep a very, very close watch on your AIS, your charts, your...
Everything.
Everything.
One of the navigation instruments that we use is called Navionics, and it combines with our own navigation system. And you can put in your start point and your end point, and it will automatically tell you what the best route to go is. For some reason, it went off at quite a sharp angle rather than just going in a straight line, right in the middle of nowhere. So we looked it up, and what it turns out is that Navionics is directing us away from a minefield. So minefields up until 20 years ago were all around here. You could not come into Durres 20 years ago because there was mines everywhere. Now they've all been cleared.
Is it just that Navionics hasn't updated?
Well, Ilya, whose dad was an ex-submarine captain, said that since the Second World War, all the mines have been cleared away.
Are we going to risk it or not? Because if the fishing
No.
trawler's over there, then...
No, we're not risking it because there's lots of shoals and wrecks from the previous encounters with mines. Yeah, this is wreck central around here, so you've got to kind of plot your way through the wrecks. But personally, I don't really want to take the risk of, oh, she'll be right because I'm with Kelly, and if something's going to go wrong, it's going to happen to Kelly. She will find the only sea mine in the Med, and she'll pick it up on the. It'll be the first thing we catch with the fishing rod. Dal, look what I caught! Tick, 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 tick.